Jay here for Stretford Paddock. This is Off the Bar, sponsored by Green King Sport. Joining me are two absolute giants of the Manchester United fan base. I've got Mr. Stephen Howson. How are we doing?
Yeah.
Thank you. And Mr. Joe Smith. How are you doing?
Not much better than that, to be honest. And
I think he sums it up quite well, to be fair to him.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. We're here. We exist.
Yeah.
Just about. Yeah.
That's about as positive as we can be on this podcast. Because it feels like, certainly in recent memory, it's as bad as it's been. Yeah. It does feel like that. I don't want to be melodramatic because people go, oh, well, you know, it was worse under Rangnick and we got battered off Liverpool under Ollie at home. But there doesn't seem much light at the end of this tunnel at the minute.
No, and also we've got all of those memories still fresh in the brain. Like when it was bad under Moyes, yeah, it was bad, but just think back 6 months and we were lifting the title.
We were still the reigning champions.
That's what I mean.
We were still the reigning champions under Moyes.
And I think the football was bad under Van Gaal, but again, how am I thinking about? 2 years and we were the reigning champions. Like, do you know what I mean? Now, to remember the last time it was genuinely great.
I said Lou was going to win us a league.
Yeah.
You're not alone.
It's 10 years.
Me and you stood outside Old Trafford.
With my chest.
Me and you stood outside Old Trafford and both agreed that Jose would leave having won us the Premier League.
Oh, and Jose.
Yeah.
I don't think I said it with Ollie.
Did you not?
No, but I was very certain that Louis and Jose would win us a league because that's what they do, Jay.
Yeah, they always win titles.
Yeah.
Jose always win the title in his second season. Louis van Gaal has won titles in, 5 or 6 different countries.
I'm pretty sure he's going to bring Gareth Bale. So
yeah. What is the doubt?
Yeah.
You'd be crazy to think we won't win the title.
all of those things happen, right?
Yeah, they did. I'm pretty sure of it. I vaguely remember it.
Yeah.
How bad is this season, though?
Yeah, really bad.
We've lost 8. We've lost 8 in 15.
But one thing I will say is that it does seem like, compared to other, I don't know if we have lost 8 in 15, but runs of this type under those managers you've just mentioned, there seems to be more of an acceptance or even a sort of resistance that this isn't just on the manager. We're too, you know, we're all blinded by our love of Man United, this, that, and the other. I get that, but we're too smart to think it's just the manager that's the problem. One more manager and we'll win the league. You know, back then we were 2 years, like I said, 2 years away from winning it, 3 years from winning it. Now it's 10 years from winning it, and we're 3 or 4 different squad evolutions from winning it. And you can't just bring someone in and win it anymore. And people are starting to realise you can't just sack the manager and everything's going to be better.
If I kicked you in the bollocks every day for 10 years,
yeah,
and then I bought a new pair of shoes,
yeah,
would you believe I wasn't going to kick you in the bollocks tomorrow?
Probably not, especially when they've got the word bollock bashers written down the side in your handwriting. That's where we're up to, isn't it? Like, I do think there's a lot more United fans saying, actually, yes, Ten Hag's not looking great at the minute, but what's sacking him going to fix?
Yeah.
We're at that point, which is good in a way because, you know, maybe we're seeing things slightly differently, but it's also bad because you think, we were at the point, I thought Jose could win us a league. I thought the right manager could win. I don't think there's a manager on earth, including Sir Alex Ferguson in 2000, that could come to this team now and win the league next season. That is impossible now. So whoever it is, it's going to be 2 years, 3 years, 4 years minimum. Who?
We haven't tried Ranieri.
But Premier League winner.
That's true.
Hey?
But
on a shoestring.
We've got to that point.
Hey?
So we're so far from winning the league that people are going, let's stick with the manager even though we're shit.
Do you have any sympathy for him, Steve? Because you just said there, 8 out of 15 we've lost, including some woeful performances as well during that. It's not like we've just been unlucky.
So I said on XG Files before, right?
Go on.
On a macro level, he has to be better. So on a macro level of that 90 minutes, that 45 minutes, that goal, the players and the manager have got to be better. And there's been some tactical question marks. There's been some selection headaches and question marks. And there's been some individual mistakes, a lot of individual mistakes. There's been, someone posted this yesterday. It might have even been you said it yesterday. No, I was thinking I saw it on Twitter. Someone said, every game, a player has a career low shit game.
It wasn't
just one. One player goes, me today.
This is the worst I've ever
This is the worst I've ever played on a football pitch.
And it's a different player every game, so it's not like you'd be like, Jesus, he's just throwing him back to back to back to back.
Yesterday's Dallo?
Dallo was as bad as I've ever seen him.
Just not defending.
Yeah.
And I think
even with the ball.
That's mad you say that. That's true. I thought Marcus against City was his worst ever. Honestly.
Onana's probably had his worst ever game ever in a United shirt. Like, so at some point, someone has shit the bed in every single game. Is that on the manager?
I don't know.
Or is that on the individual
Can you
players?
legislate for that as a manager? Can you even predict or accommodate for the fact that one of your players who is established...
In fact, Sir Alex Ferguson said, football's about just getting 8 or 9 of them to have good games. Right. You get 8 or 9 of them having good games, you'll win the game.
Right.
But if you get 8 or 9 of them shit in the bed and one of them just fucking spinning around looking at the sky...
Yeah.
You got problems on your hands, haven't you?
Casemiro's undoubtedly had the worst game of his career this season as well for United. I can't tell you exactly which one it was. Maybe it was the Brentford game. Like, he definitely has.
At 20 minutes, I nearly banged a tweet out at 20 minutes. How good is it to see Casemiro back in his...
He was good.
Never mind.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Don't do anything positive on Twitter. I've been there. It doesn't bode well.
I thought he was all right yesterday, Casemiro. I know he got brought off, but I didn't think he was having one of his absolute, like, what are you doing games.
That's how bad it's getting, though, Joe. We're talking about one of the greatest DMs ever.
It is true.
And you're saying the 6 out of 10, if that he gave us, was all right because I was scared he was going to give us the 2 out of 10 he gave us against Brentford.
Yeah. So, on a macro level,
go on.
Yes, you've got manager needs to be better, the players need to be better.
Yeah.
Over the longer... broad brush of like the season, the month, the run that you're on. I think the right wing situation impacts. I think the lack of defence, like defenders, is an issue. Yeah. I think there's probably some settling in issues, some injury issues. I think all of that external shit has impacted us. Has it impacted us to the fact that we wouldn't have lost any of the 8? Probably not. But what if we'd have only lost half of many? We would have been in such a different mental space. You know, it would have felt so much different. If Marcus scores just 1 of his 34 shots that he's missed.
Right, okay.
Like, does that feel better? Yeah. Like, you know, let alone on that, even on a decent return, you're looking at him scoring, I don't know, about 7 or something out of that. Yeah. So when you look at how bad we are, there's so many things that have gone into this, and I'll never be someone that stands there and just goes, just fuck the manager off. But I think on those macro levels, things can change. On the broader one, yes, I think the direction of the... Joel Glazer didn't lose his man at the near post, right? That didn't happen. But ultimately...
Back post, wasn't it?
Yeah, back post. Always back post. But if you look at like the direction of the club and the vibe of the club and the... like. You know what it's like when you're working somewhere that you just think, I'm just waiting for a P45 here. Like, have you all worked a good notice at a job before?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you?
What, like a month or whatever?
Yeah.
I did 9 months in the army. It was amazing.
9 months?
9
notice,
yeah.
Right. I've done a month. Yeah, I've done a month.
It's meant to be 12, but they just go, right, you're not going on leave now, and then all your leave gets...
But you absolutely moised it. And
so you have 9 months. Yeah, 9 months. So I got... insane. Top 10% in the world at Pro Evo, I would say. Yeah. Absolutely.
Were you doing any combat this time?
No, so they take you off everything.
That's good. I wouldn't want to be working.
That's why it's 12 months. That's why it's 12 months. Because you can't be like, you're going to Iraq next week and you go, about my 2-week notice, fuck you. It's just 12 months for a reason. Yeah. So, yeah, once you put your notice in that you're going to leave, they take you off everything. Right, okay. And I was in such a busy regiment that I just kind of like... I stepped off the train at the platform and fucking 3 trains just went right past me. Right, and no one... So I would just walk around with a clipboard for half an hour a day and then... bit of Pro Evo. Right, for the next 7 hours. And no one checked up on me. No one cared. So when you have a large notice period, it's so easy just to fuck it off. Yeah. And just... Yeah. And I imagine... having no direction in a company that you're in and no sort of ambition in the company that you're in, you get into notice mode. Yeah. And I wonder how many of these are, like, I'm sure everyone goes to it. Even, like, there would have been some days where I go, I'll do a bit today. By 10:15, I'm back fucking firing up a bit of career mode, know what I mean?
Yeah, it does have that sort of Friday afternoon feeling, doesn't it? It's 3:30 on a Friday.
Why is that then? Is that because
out the door?
That starts from the top.
They're allowed, because it's top 4. That's the trophy. Is that why? Because what's instilled is, if you get top 4, you're fine. If you don't, you shit. But that's the only metric. Almost like to the Glazers. I'm sure they'd rather win the Premier League than finish 4th, obviously, because why not? But in terms of how it impacts you as a player or whatever, nothing happens finishing 4th that doesn't happen when you finish 1st. Like, it's just the same. You get a contract extension, you get a pat on the back, you'll go again next week, you'll be here for the season after. Like, there's no incentive to push past that, is there?
No, they've told us that's where we want to get.
Yeah.
And you know that's the expectation. You never hear the owners coming out and say, and of course, you don't hear the owners of every club coming out and say it, but their actions tell you what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
The actions, like you're walking around Old Trafford, and or you're walking around Carrington, and you're like, yeah, it was a good 20 years ago. And
that's it. It's vintage, isn't it? Now it's like a museum almost because it's that old. Then you look at Old Trafford. You got Old Trafford. It's leaking. The roof's leaking. It's just not a great stadium anymore in terms of like the infrastructure within the stadium itself. If you do want to sit down, good luck with that. Unless you're 4'1", it's not
a bit
great
Depop now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just not great.
You can imagine a student on Oxford Road, like walking down with Old Trafford that they've just bought as the new little vintage stadium.
That's right.
Look at this. Look what I've picked up. Look how small the seats are. Everyone was 5'4" when this was built. My little Depop vintage stadium.
I mean, exactly.
Need a proper one.
What sort of message is that? And it's like, there's this narrative going around, and I've seen it when people have been criticising Ten Hag for some of the signings he's made. Yeah. And I've seen a lot of it, like, instead of getting Mason Mount, we could have got Kim Min-jae, for example. And I was thinking, like, I don't know, maybe we could have, but if Bayern wanted him and we wanted him, why would he choose us? Yeah. If you go to Bayern Munich, right, you're going to win a league title, you're going to challenge for the Champions League, you're going to play in one of the best stadiums in the world, you're going to be surrounded by superstars.
Just been knocked out by a team 15 for the third division.
They have in the cup, but they're still the second in the league by 1 point.
Fucking 9 Bundesligas in a row.
And they've been to 2 Champions League finals in the last 10 years, when we haven't even been to a semi-final in 15 or whatever it is.
But can you imagine the shitstorm if United lost to... Let me just have a look who's in.
Probably Gillingham.
I don't know.
Stockport. Let's say Stockport.
I'm going to say League One. No, come on, it's League One.
It's still a better proposition in it got to Bayern Munich than it is to Manchester United. What's the selling point to come to United then if you wanted Kim Min-jae?
We'll pay you loads of money.
That's it.
We'll pay you more than they will.
You're going to play in a stadium that's falling apart. You're going to play with a team players that don't want to be there. Yeah. You're not going to win the title. You're not going to win the Champions League, and you might win the Carabao.
I tell you what the standard, what the selling point is we'll give you as much or more than they will. And we won't ask as much of you.
That's it. He's right. He says.
But genuinely, and I think
you'll triple your Instagram followers.
Yeah, occasionally that attracts people who go, you know what? I wouldn't mind earning 300 grand a week and not having to do that much. Because if you go to Bayern Munich and you finish second, like the president is on the pitch slapping you in the face at the end of the season. That's how critical and horrible they are there.
Sergio Reguilon, his first couple of games, and he's running around everywhere. Yeah, and he's like, and we all said it, didn't we? Say we'll get rid of that. We'll knock that off.
Yeah,
you can imagine him training going, everyone going, whoa. Yeah. All right, teachers, but what are you doing? Slow down, son. Do you know what I mean?
Is it like that though?
Well, what's going on then? Because I'm watching good players not performing. Is it effort? Is it they lost faith? Is it they just can't be bothered? I know that's the same as effort. What is it?
There's these things there,
is it form? Is it confidence?
I think it is that. I think the biggest thing is that. I think a mixture of injuries on the pitch. I think it's a mixture of injuries and confidence. Yeah. Losing your entire back four, it does matter. It is massive that, especially when you're a team that plays out from the back. Plays out, we ain't got a back. There's no back for us to play out from.
I do feel for him on that front. I do feel the Martinez injury was huge for United because the Scousers never shut up when Virgil van Dijk got injured.
Yeah. And everyone was like, haven't they done well for getting fourth last day of the season and being shit for the rest of it?
You know what I mean?
When they've got a defender injured.
They lost 6 at home that season, didn't they?
Yeah.
But it was like, it was forgiven because we hadn't got Van Dijk. We lose our most important defender and also 3 others.
And our second most important, probably in Luke Shaw.
Yeah, and people kind of go, well, still you should be winning these matches. And to a certain degree, we should be beating the likes of Brighton and Crystal Palace and seems like. But you can't ignore the fact we're missing key players. The question, so I do feel for him on that front. For the 23-24 season, Off the Bat is sponsored by Green King Sport, where football is more than just a game. Get yourself down to a Green King Sport venue, Green King Pub, where you can watch every single Manchester United televised match. So instead of watching it on some dodgy stream, sat on your own, sat in your bedroom, sat just watching it, trying to watch it on your phone, get your mates together and get down to a Green King Pub where you can watch all the Manchester United action.
This season, Green King have launched the Green King Sport Instagram page, which is home to fan content, deals, competitions throughout the season. They've also given away Champions League final tickets and signed shirts, so you do not want to miss out.
So drop him a follow on Instagram and you won't just be the first to find out about all this good stuff, you'll also be helping out Stretford Paddock as well. The link to that Instagram page is in the description. Go and check out Green King Sport on Instagram now. How do we see a manager in a spot like this and see him come out of it? Because I was thinking back to it, and other than Ole, when he first got the job, so he's never going to get sacked immediately, no manager has had a spell like this and come through it and stayed the United manager and been successful the other side of it since 1989, when Sir Alex had 3 shit years to his first 4. And you were talking about this the other night or last night, Steve. So I've had a bit of an in-depth look at this. So the first season, I think you said he was 17th when he took over. United
something
was 17th.
like that. We were near the relegation zone when Atkinson got sacked.
Yeah.
I think did we get battered 4-1 or something off Southampton?
Yeah.
I can't remember his exact position. We were right near the bottom of the league though.
So that year we finished 11th.
Yeah, which is him turning it around, to be fair with.
Then we finished 2nd, and you think, great.
This
cracked it.
We're Scousers, but we're still 2nd. You got to remember though, 2nd in those days.
So only 2nd.
Yeah, this is like, and there's no, you're not getting Champions League football for that.
No. The year after that, we finished 11th again. So it's just horrendous.
Yeah.
And then you go, okay, right. Well, the year after that finished.
You don't get to go 11, 2nd, 11.
No. And then
No.
And
Take
then,
him out back, give him the old yellow treatment.
And then his next trick, after finishing 11th, presumably everyone's pissed off at this point. There must be people questioning him.
Yeah, of course
is,
they are.
I'll follow that by finishing 13th. And
Yeah.
they won the FA Cup that year, and obviously, famously, that's what kept him in his job. And I was looking and thinking, well, maybe the expectation was different then. And obviously, it'd been a long time since we'd won the league. Yeah. But the seasons up until Sir Alex came in...
Third, fourth.
Third, fourth. We'd won the FA Cup twice in the 4 years before he arrived.
Beat Barcelona.
We'd beat Barcelona.
Barcelona.
We'd won the League Cup final.
We'd won
Barcelona,
the League Cup.
as Webby would say.
Yeah, we'd won the League Cup 3 years before. Was the runner-up 2 years before, or the season before. So we weren't awful. No. We were no worse than we are now.
And we had some good results against teams we hated.
Yeah.
We always turn up against the Scousers who were winning the title and the Champions League or the European Cup, whatever. But we had good games against them. Yeah. So we'd turn up against our rivals. Do you know what I mean? And I wasn't watching City win trebles and all that nonsense.
So I had a bit of a look at how bad the form was those years. Yeah. And obviously, you were alive at the time, but I presume you don't remember the general feeling around, the press, the media, football when you were 9 or 6 or whatever it was.
I remember like 6 is obviously far too young. I remember reading Red Issue and stuff like when Fergie was going through it. And getting a lot of sticks. And my dad used to get Red Issue and I used to read it. And I remember like just my dad being just fuming all the time. And there's a lot of like Granada reports or whatever it was at the time was like sort of very critical of him. So I could tell that it all wasn't well at United.
Yeah. So what I've done is I've gone back and looked at the MEN archives from around that time.
Because when it was a newspaper.
Because for 2 reasons. One, because obviously it was a newspaper then.
Yeah.
And 2,
by the way, great journalist, by the way. David Meek, innit?
Yeah, he wrote both of these articles. I'm not going to go through the full thing, but just to give you a picture. Because I asked my dad, I was like, what was the feeling like? And he said, well, I can't, you can't, it's 40 years ago almost. You can't really remember. So the first one is now Fergie must fight those Red Boo boys. And this was after the Pete Molyneux bedsheet to our Fergie, right?
Yeah.
So in this article, basically, it talks about how Ferguson has a mountain to climb, how the manager hasn't got all the fans on his side, but the way it's written is so much more casual and calm compared to what you see today.
Because extremism sells now.
Exactly. Yeah. Back in those days, this was I don't know what the circulation was. Let's say 100,000 odd. Now it's a quarter of that, and everything has to be sold harder and harder and harder. But basically, he's saying, it's no easy matter because it seems that whatever he does, he won't please all the supporters. That's the kind of language being used. Not he's got to go, fans are turning on this, that and the other. And that's after the Pete Molyneux bedsheet. Now, just to frame that, so some people were pissed off already at that point, right? That was 3 games in to a streak where United didn't win in 10 and also, if you see there, look, had 2 wins in 17 games.
Yeah.
And that was at the start of it.
Yeah,
89-90. Right, so this next one is from the Norwich game, which was, I think, a 6th loss in 10 games, 2-0 at home. And this is 4 years into him being manager, by the way. This isn't like at the start.
Yeah.
So then you've got David Meek again, Fergie fights for his life.
And this is the thing. Cup now, it's all boss Sir Alex Ferguson fights to secure his future. Can you zoom in a little bit, please? I got my readers on. The Reds are staring relegation in the face after a run of 10 games. Look at that, there's the bottom.
Yeah.
Charlton, Luton,
We're 4th from bottom.
Millwall, United.
That is crazy, that.
Yeah.
Played what's that, 23 games or something?
Yeah.
Oh
Played
my
23.
God.
We were 17th.
We'd lost more than anyone bar Charlton who were rock bottom.
Yeah.
We'd lost less than Luton, less than Millwall.
Imagine saying as well, the FA Cup's going to save him.
I know.
Like, imagine that now.
But it did.
Yeah, it did.
It did.
But that would happen now, would it? Be like, well, the FA Cup's not going to save you because you got sacked 15 games ago.
But this is like I said, his fourth season in charge
Robbo's
at United.
injured. Oh well.
Fourth season in charge. 3 of those seasons we finished in the bottom half, and he survived. That is absolutely insane that he survived that. Even in those days.
Should I ring Martin Edwards and say, what the fuck were you thinking?
Yeah. The idea of letting him keep his job after this.
Yeah.
3 of the 4 years you finish in the bottom half. At 23 games in, we're what, a point above the relegation zone. And
it's just like I get your point.
Yeah.
Like obviously, we stuck with Fergie and Richie's ensued. But it's different here as well, and it's crazy some of the things that went on. Like Dockett got relegated and kept his job.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I know that was obviously 15 years before this, but it's just none of this happens now because of the Champions League, because of the money involved, because of the pressure on you to finish in that top 4.
You look
You're
at
just not going to get away with that.
They got sacked similar to the way the recent lot have been sacked.
Yeah.
No, that wasn't unique to this era. Like we've literally seen managers get in and out of the door. Who was the other fucking boring drip that we had?
I know it's not him, but we had Wilf McGuinness, then we had...
Wilf was... The problem with... So, let's go through this. So the problem with Wilf was...
Post-Busby, obviously.
Yeah, so he's a Busby babe. He's still mates with everyone.
Did the Bobby Charlton story?
Yeah, where he made Bobby Charlton do press-ups in a suit, was it?
It's just because he had his hands in his pockets and that was the rules. And it was like, everyone's like, you can't tell Bobby Charlton to do press-ups.
Yeah, and then it kind of went a bit west for there, didn't it, right?
Yeah.
Now
we're at the stage of you can't tell Jadon Sancho's not training because he's been playing FIFA all day.
So it went Wilf, down to Matt again, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it was O'Farrell?
Yeah.
I want to say O'Farrell, yeah.
Then Sexton?
I think you're right.
Doherty next.
Oh, no, shit. Doherty, yeah, of course.
O'Farrell,
I've got the list.
Sexton.
You two
No, go on. No, you're right. Doherty, who
keep you on track.
got relegated, kept his job, though.
I'm missing someone.
No.
All right.
So Doherty keeps us up, then gets relegated, then gets us promoted.
Wins the FA Cup. Stops the Scousers doing a treble.
But he's having an affair with the physio's wife, so loses his job for off-the-field activities.
And then
Sexton.
ironically, Sexton comes in after that.
Nicely done.
And then one scandal to
Atkinson.
another. Yeah.
Well, even Sexton, did he win like his last 7 games or something? Like, and he got to a cup final during his tenure, an FA Cup final.
Was O'Farrell the one that everyone's like, fuck me, he's boring?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
well, Sexton's football was boring. He got rid of
O'Farrell
Gordon
lasted a year.
What was the script with O'Farrell then?
He just wasn't up to it. I think he was Leicester manager one in and we got him in. He went for him. But like I think with Sexton, he got rid of like Gordon Hill, who was an entertainer. The football went from Dockett's free flowing. Dockett's like
I think a lot of Reds that you speak to of that ilk.
Yeah.
Doc's Tartan Army was a big...
Mate, if you go into the Rocky in Eccles, it's still Tommy Dockett is the manager of United. They still sing the songs like you walk in there and you go, what? Hey, Big Jim Holton's what? What you on about? Skip to me, Lou Macari, what? Okay, right. Seems to have got into a time warp. Like, as far as they're concerned, he's the gaffer.
And then Big Ron comes in. And Big Ron is dripping in 80s, innit? Like, he has walked
Collar
into
outside the suit jacket.
Yeah, he's got a sheepskin on and sunglasses. What weather are you dressing for? Doesn't matter. We got the gold and it's out. It's over the shirt. It's a spray tan. It's spray hair.
Chest hair.
It's
questionable selection tactics and five-a-side selection tactics.
With him picking himself in the best team. Yeah, in one of the teams.
We'll not
like
talk about what we did
Kes.
when we had no bibs.
Yeah, because we don't want to all get cancelled. But yeah, it's crazy.
But I think as well, the point with this is that the way things have changed, some of it is obviously the money, some of it is whatever. Another thing that's massive now is social media and the amount of... Back in those days, if the club were trying to find out what the fans thought about or what the general consensus around a manager was, they had the MEN, they had... now there's 11...
The stadium.
The stadium.
They had there's 11 national newspapers now. There's probably a few more then. Yeah. There was Granada Reports and Match of the Day.
And the radio as well.
The radio.
The phone-ins
and that was it. And now you've got all of those things.
Maybe in Fergie's time there was phone-ins, not going back to Farrell and Sexton and all them.
You've got all of those things.
We've had a telegram.
Millions of tweets per
Says
weekend.
England have won the World Cup. Now mine.
But now you've got millions of tweets as well that can be fan sentiment graphed to United's heart's
content. Well, they do that, don't
That's
they?
what I'm saying.
Well, that's why we haven't got Arnautovic playing for us.
Exactly.
But
like, it's so
crazy.
different.
More nonsense at this club.
Yeah.
Like, let's just
Do you know
decide
what?
transfers
Like,
off
if someone at the club is gauging fan sentiment, that's probably a positive thing on the face of it. If the recruitment team He's doing fucking Cantona would be the new manager. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I know, it's bad, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
It's all right as a tool, as a bit of a like.
Let's see the reaction to this decision we've made.
Yeah,
I get that.
The end of year report.
Let's base
what the fan
decision
sentiment said, but not like. Anyway, let's go to Twitter and find out who we should sign.
But it is that.
What the fuck?
Cancel that contract. Cancel that flight. We're not going to go and sign him because Twitter don't fancy him. Like it was, even though I agreed with the decision not to sign him because it wasn't just footballing reasons.
Just like
it is crazy.
Imagine Twitter with when Vidic and Evra signed.
But you know what? That's the thing, innit? Who are these? Imagine after Evra's first 45 against City, like he never would have played again. But the thing with that as well is those papers. Sorry, that you going back to the David Meek ones and the MEN and a lot of the others. They still cared about not upsetting the manager.
Yeah,
they still had that. Well, David Meek would be honest and say, you know, he'd say it's rubbish, whatever. But
David Meek used to write our program notes.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's not like now where you'll have half of these whoppers who don't care and they'll just write whatever. No. Where there was a sort of thing, well, we've got to keep the club and Fergie happy.
Well, there was
start taking credentials
on that. Like I mentioned it to you before, Jay. But so at the end of this 10-game run with no wins under Fergie, we drew with City 1-1, right?
Phew.
And the headline was, I can't remember the exact wording, but something like 2 great goals.
Yeah.
It was like City and United have both got a point, and it's great for Manchester.
Even type tackle, like.
And instead now it'd be another game without a win.
Who was City manager at the time? Pause.
Mel Machin.
89.
Yeah, he was when we got beat 5-1.
Yeah, it must have been then. When did Peter Reid take over?
I think he might have taken over from Machin. No, it was Howard Kendall won it, and then Kendall went, actually, I don't really like City, I will go back to Everton.
This fucking Tim Pot nomad clubbing in my side. Got stuck in traffic, thought it was for the match, as a fucking chippy.
Forget this.
It's a good chippy though, wasn't it?
It was actually.
I'll tell you who the manager was. It was 6. Hang on a second, that doesn't make sense. Oh yeah, it was Peter Reid. He'd taken over about 2 months before.
What year is this, sorry?
1990.
Oh, yeah. Because didn't it sat Machin at the end of the 89 to 90 season?
Some of these names just take me back to my childhood. A couple of mates that were City fans and just listening to...
I missed that.
No, it was Howard Kendall.
Frank Clark.
Yeah, because Machin, was it Machin Kendall?
Machin, well, till November. When was that game?
Yeah, February. It was Machin.
Okay, so yeah.
Kendall, sorry.
Machin had just gone. Kendall got it and had it not even a year.
I could do this. Don't show me, right? So you have Peter Reid after him.
Let's go. Are we?
Can you go from Jimmy Frizzle?
I could go. Kendall. Machin, Kendall.
No,
Reid.
You're missing one.
You're missing an interim.
Interim. Oh, it's not Tony Buck or something like that.
Correct.
Tony Buck, right? Then after
a couple times.
After Reid, is it Brian Orton?
Are you missing an interim?
Oh, mate, no.
Say it again.
Is it
Tony Buck?
Tony Buck.
Speed that.
Tony, Tony, don't worry, I'm on my way. Hey,
I'm in a car.
Yeah. And then it would have been Alan Ball, wasn't it, after Brian Orton?
Brian Orton was fucking abysmal, wasn't it?
No, do you know what, though? That was like a little sort of renaissance for him because they were going to get relegated. They got Paul Walsh and Uwe Rosler and all them.
It really fucking was.
And then they finished 15th, which
Peter Reid had a great... Mel Machin had a 45% win rate, which for City at the times was fucking top.
Of course it was.
Then Peter Reid had a 43% win rate. Then they had Brian Orton with 30. Then it started going west. Alan Ball, he was fucking...
Franny Lee's mate, wasn't he?
Shite.
Yeah.
26%. Asa Hartford, I remember him. He was only in there for 8 games, I remember him.
What about... was
37.5.
When's the shortest tenure in football history come up?
Steve Coppell, 6 games, 3 losses, 33%.
That's brilliant. That. He said he
Phil Neal,
he's just left and he said it's not for me.
Frank Clark, 33% win rate, and I'm pretty sure there's promotions in that, isn't there?
I don't know. Didn't Frank Clark take him down? I don't know about promotions. I think he might have took him to League One.
Joe Royal, 43%.
He did all right.
Kevin Keegan, 43%. There's promotion in that, I think. Stuart Pearce, 35%.
I missed the Stuart Pearce days with the stuffed donkey.
Shite. Yeah,
playing David James up front.
It was shite.
And then it starts getting good.
I prank called Kevin Keegan. My mate used to play.
He's a nice guy.
My mate used to play for City, and do you know when people used to leave the phones on the table in the pub?
Yeah. Oh right, I thought you meant for your show with Ash.
No.
Right.
People used to leave phones on the table in 2000, 2002 or something like that.
Yeah.
And he left. He was at City, and he left his phone on the table, and we stole Anelka's number.
Good.
And he never answered. And Kevin Keegan's number, and he did.
Is that What's the statute of limitations on this?
He gives a fuck's a prank call and fucking kill it.
He stole his number.
What? No, I borrowed it.
He's put it back.
Yeah, give it back.
Put that number back in his phone, will you?
Did he act like Gary Neville?
Remember that?
Did he say, shut up, you dick?
No, we rang him.
I'm going to ring you back in 10 minutes and you might tell me you give you this
It
number.
was a love it joke. It was something like, wouldn't you love it if you knew this one? Something like that. He just fucking hung up. I think he said fuck off and hung up.
To be fair, you could have gone turbo with that. You could have just been ringing him every like 5 minutes with different payphones and all sorts, and just pecking his head right in, like making his life a misery.
Yeah, this is what the 141 days. Just fucking save it with a 141 at the start, and then just fucking abuse it.
No one can work out who it is. No one will ever know who it is. Just moving back to the present day.
No, let's not.
We need to. I know, but we can't have fun because everything's shit. What do you see happening in the next sort of 2 or 3 months? Your prediction of United's fortunes?
Realistically,
yeah.
Takeover, partial takeover complete. Yeah. This doesn't get any better. We get rodded by Liverpool, and he's fucking out on his ear by Christmas. And they get here's a worry, right? A legitimate worry. The most dangerous time for any manager is when a new owner comes in. Now, we're not getting new owners, sadly, but we are going to get a new football department. And that's almost as good as a new owner. Yeah. Because if there's going to be a new CEO and a new director of football, which it sounds like Jean-Claude Blanc and Paul Mitchell could be coming in.
Sorry.
And there's a bit of a supposed reluctance from Ten Hag to work with, I don't know if the option was really offered, but to work with Rangnick or anyone else as a director of football, apart from Murta, who he clearly isn't fucking working with because he's doing all the recruitment. So if there was any sort of pushback from Ten Hag, I would not be surprised in the slightest if they go, yeah, fucking cool, there's a door, and they get whoever in. I don't know who that is, and it's not what I want. It's what I think will probably happen.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. And I'm like you. I think there are a lot of mitigating circumstances for Ten Hag. Yes, he should have done better, but there's circumstances that you go, that's not his fault. And the thing is, I honestly feel like now, just stick with him. Just stick with him. And I know that you talk about the Fergie thing, and it's not even the Fergie thing I'd be thinking of. I think more like, and maybe this is wishful thinking, but if you look at what Arteta did, for example, won the FA Cup, finished 8th, and then...
5th, 8th, 2nd.
5th, 8th, 2nd.
Yeah.
Like, Ten Hag's had a good first season. He's having a bit of a stinker. Give him more time.
Is he having a stinker, or is there just a lot of shit flowing around?
A bit of both. Yeah, there's a lot of shit. And I know, like, obviously, both of them can talk a little bit of wibble, as you'd say. But I think that both Carragher and Neville actually had a point. When Carragher's saying, but still, you should be playing better than you are. Well, yeah. And also, when Neville's saying, but it's so toxic at the club. Everything at the club is a mess. And that's got to affect the players. Also, half the coaching staff are looking over the shoulder because you're hearing, like you've just said, that Brailsford and Mitchell are going to come in and go, right, you don't work here anymore. So what's that going to do for your motivation and your morale when you're going into work?
What are we doing well? And I'll take anything at this point.
What, the club as a whole or Ten Hag?
Oh, my lad went and interviewed Alejandro Garnacho the other day.
I saw the video. Have they edited him out?
No, he's at the end. Well, he's not in it. He made a little bit of a mistake in his... He's not a mistake. He did his press conference a bit different.
So even he's fucked out. So go on. What are we doing well?
What are we doing well? No,
wow.
Okay. No, genuinely, there has to be something. I think...
Stay. Loads of things. You know... Like, we handled the Mason Greenwood situation perfectly.
I think he's handled this
flawless.
I think he's handled the Sancho thing right.
Sancho, he's never been happier.
He's handled it right.
I agree.
I don't think it's going right though.
No, it's not going right. But
I think that's upsetting a lot of people. I think it's having a bad effect.
Do you know something though? It pisses me off. Do you know like how everyone at the drop of a hat goes, make him train with the reserves? Like that's the thing you hear every 2 seconds whenever anyone doesn't track back, let alone fucking doesn't work in training and then calls the manager out publicly. And then finally, the manager makes someone train with the reserves and I was going, you're too harsh on him. What do you want him to do? Just completely ignore and publicly criticise the manager? Listen, can't do that.
We are in the era where TalkSport will make 5 videos arguing one thing and then 5 arguing the fucking opposite.
Yeah.
So it don't matter what you're going to do. At the end of the day, the only people that give a fuck about him and want him to succeed are United fans. And I think a lot of opposition fans got scared because at times last season, we did look very good. We had a fucking hell of a run where we put aside some big teams, including Barcelona, and managed to win a trophy. Were United back? No, but we were fucking moving in the right direction for a bit, right? Then we had this mad run where we played a game every 25 minutes. I think it was probably a bit too harsh of a pre-season in terms of both travel, time zone, and number of games, especially when you factor in that the players had probably fucking run on fumes for a large portion of last season. Dean Saunders, for once, TalkSport actually made a fucking salient point and wasn't like really just pointing fingers. This is in the middle of pre-season. He said he's looked at this and gone, I think you're going to get a load of injuries. Well, fuck me, wasn't he correct?
Yeah.
With a hell of a real good point. Now, you've got injuries. You've got an absolute car crash of a situation involving the right wing spot, which ain't resolved by any stretch of the imagination at all.
No.
You've got the club coming. It hasn't happened now for a few weeks at least. We couldn't go a fucking day without a statement from the football club.
No,
think about that. That was an absolutely bonkers. It was like a fucking statement watch.
Yeah.
It was absolutely bonkers.
So many.
And we've had to deal with that. You're still getting fucking pillocks like Piers Morgan, like sticking his oar in. Why don't you shut the fuck up and fuck off and do everyone a good fucking favour? Absolute fucking ball bag.
Well said. Couldn't agree more.
Just one thing as well, the transfers thing. And I get, obviously, you have to get transfers right, otherwise you're never going to win and you're going to get criticised. But I also feel like, especially at United, and this isn't just a Ten Hag thing, this was a Jose thing and an Ole thing and whatever. Yeah. It's like we assume that if you buy a player, you are never allowed to replace that player or make a mistake. Pepe's? Well, but this is the thing. So it's like, well, he bought him, so he must be perfect. And he bought him, so he must be perfect. But that's like, the assumption is, once Ten Hag has bought 11 players, after his first 11 transfers, we win the league. And if not, you're shit. And I'm just looking at some of Liverpool's transfers that they bought under Klopp, right? And there are some excellent ones in there.
The first couple of years, I think it was one good, one shit, one shit, which is a pretty good hit rate, really.
It's not bad, but he got Loris Karius, who cost him a Champions League final. Yeah. They got Mane, excellent.
That was quite
Ragnar Klavan, whatever. Wijnaldum, Salah, fantastic, both of them. Then you've got Solanke, Oxlade-Chamberlain for 35 million, Naby Keita for 52 million.
52 was fucking 80.
Okay. Sheridan Shaqiri, 13.5 million. Like, Minamino, 7.2 million. Thiago, 27 million.
A brilliant signing, remember? No one else is onto him.
And
who does he play for now?
I'm not sure. But there's been some great ones. And you've got your Van Dijks in there, obviously, and Alisson, and there's some excellent signings. But there's a lot of signings in there that if you just had this standard of, if you ever make a bad signing, you're not allowed to replace them. You're not allowed to do that because then you're shit.
With Bravo, for example.
Yeah.
He lasted a season.
There was a spell where Pep bought. It was
exactly.
And also they bought Danilo, Mendy, and someone else for another 20-odd million, and they were all shit. And obviously Mendy had other stuff, but he was shit on the pitch, which is why that transfer is awful.
Yeah.
But for Ten Hag, it's, well, you bought Anthony in, so, and I get it, it's a big money, so that's the point. But now he's not that great, you have to go, because clearly there's no possible way we can win with you as manager. I just think managers don't get every single transfer right. And every other manager, that's accepted. But with United, it's, well, he bought him, so he must be good. I just think we just need to calm it down a bit.
Yeah, it's United are held to a different standard to everyone else. Here's interesting news. The Beatles have released another song.
I know, I listened to it before on the toilet by myself because I
didn't
didn't
know
want
they were
anyone
back
to interrupt
together.
me.
Do you like the Beatles?
No.
Or was it you and the
See, this is the problem. You undermine everything you've said on this podcast by such awful opinions like that.
What? What do you mean, awful opinion?
The Beatles are the best band of all time.
Him and Mac say to me all the time, name me one good song they've done, that's what they always used to say.
They're the greatest band of all time.
Yeah.
Wrong.
Fact.
Who is the greatest
Listen
band
to
of all time?
fucking Help and just listen to how basic bitch that shit sounds.
But that's because it was released in the early 60s. Look at the transition and the evolution of them and who they inspired.
Don't give me the who they inspired.
I think you don't get the credit for who they inspired.
To
wrap this up. Quick answers. Does Ten Hag see Christmas as Manchester United manager?
If the takeover has happened and we've not improved, no.
Okay.
If the takeover hasn't happened, I don't think the Glazers will make a decision because I think they're decision averse.
Fair enough. Joseph?
He'll need help.
Yeah, nicely done.
And if the results don't return, he'll get the revolver. Or he'll be back in the USSR before he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, or, he'll go out with Eleanor Rigby. Fuck off.
Perry, you want to LSD?
Or he'll ring up Real Madrid and he'll say, hey, Jude, can I sign you? Right.
Thank you.
There we go. There we go.
Fuck you, and fuck the Beatles. They're fucking shite. Don't have anyone tell you that they're fucking good. Literally, name me one good tune. I've tried to listen. They're fucking shite.
On that bombshell.
Look who they inspired. Fuck who they inspired. It's nothing to do with that. Inspiration comes in many forms, a lot of it narcotics.
He doesn't know what he's saying.
Fuck the Beatles.
He doesn't know what he's saying.
That's been Stephen Alson. That's been Joe Smith. I've been Jay Motti. This has been Off the Bat, sponsored by Green King Sport. Don't forget to hit like, share, and subscribe. Go and check out their Instagram as well. Thanks for watching.
Abbey Road.